No, this is my new logo. It's an embroidered denim hat,
Oh, bro.
and then my uh, Gildan long sleeve with my logo.
Okay.
Yeah, so I thought, well, I might as well do a little representing this since I'm coming back once again.
I'm just watching the stream. I'm waiting for it to actually connect here to YouTube.
Let's see if I get you.
Let's make sure I got it here.
Shows live here.
Oh yeah, but it's showing the wrong banner.
Yeah,
It's showing the
you
wrong banner, and I
you
can't
can
even get in there right now.
yeah, you can change it after.
Yeah. Oh
Yeah.
wait, no, it shows the right banner. Okay, we're okay. No, we're not. Don't worry about it. Yeah, we're good though. Okay, we're live, man. We're good.
Sweet.
You ready, to rock and roll, brother?
I was born to rock, and I'm always ready to roll.
He says, I was born to rock, and I was already ready to roll. All right, let's rock and roll. Ladies and gentlemen, it is Friday. Right here, Rocky Stucci Show, the 24th of January. Holy crap. And I almost froze to death right here in Florida. No big deal. It snowed in Florida at the beach. That's what happens in this normal society and world that we live in. Let's go. You know, the weirdest thing happened, Bauer. Brother, the weirdest thing happened yesterday. We were just talking about this, and I think I just, the universe was listening, bro. Yesterday, I had a J6, it was a last minute call. Glenn Baker got a hold of me. Dude just got released from prison.
Nice.
Welcome home, brother.
Amen.
And he said, do you want to interview him? Let's go. So got on an interview with him last night, and my audio was off the chains, dude. It was, don't know what happened. Really, don't even know. Went this morning, restarted my computer and fired up, and here I am. Didn't do anything.
You know, sometimes when you don't do anything is the best thing to do.
Whoa.
Think about it. Sometimes when you're navigating through the reality and you're bumping into shit and you go, well, wait, what's that? Or something gets in your way or you step in a hole. And you go, well, didn't see that coming. Now what am I supposed to do? Well, now you got to navigate the reality and try to figure out what do I know in my pattern recognition model in my mind, and how do I navigate this little inconvenience, this little pain in the ass, where did this come from? And sometimes, you have to look away to see what you're missing,
Oh, bro, that was deep.
right? I mean, but it's truth, right?
I mean, seriously, sometimes you have to look away to see what you're missing. I mean, dude, seriously, I mean, it would sound kind of just like, but there's actually some power to that.
I think it is actually part of the way that we function, the way that we work, the way
What's
that
going on over there this morning, Power?
well, it is awful early where I be, and
Yeah, for the
we're
record, we're
closed.
live. It's 9 o'clock where I'm at, so it's pretty convenient for me, but I didn't do the mathematical calculations that when I wanted to have, let's say, like Bauer on or Harmon or somebody who lives out on the West Coast, it's still dark out and people are still sleeping.
Yeah, we're still trying to figure out what it is that we're even doing. We've kind of opened the eyes. We're becoming awake, which is what happens when you are woke in the previous true definition of the term. So you awake, and all of a sudden you start scanning the landscape, trying to figure out what's going on. What's that thing buzzing on my table?
Dude,
What
are we technically woke?
Well, again, remember we talked yesterday about the weaponization of the language, which is the operating system of the mind,
Oh, it just worked.
right?
It just
See what I'm,
worked.
you see what I'm saying?
It
Woke.
worked.
Woke was a state of being back when it was originally you are woke. You have awoke. And it's you once you awaken, you are awake. And then they took this thing and said, well, we're gonna really mess with everybody's head and drop this. We'll swap out the A for an O and we'll call it woke.
Oh,
And
by the
then when
way,
they
folks, I just want to let everybody know that Bauer and I figured out the issue on how to fix when the camera goes, you know what I'm saying? I made some ugly faces, but sometimes the freeze frames are catching me at a really bad time. I didn't have my makeup on, bro. You know,
Well, and
but we got it
you
fixed.
had that blur going on. It was like, is he phasing in and out of reality? What's going on here?
I was interdimensionally traveling. I call it interdimensional swimming. It's something I do. I'm the interdimensional whisperer, bro. You know, I don't know if you heard that about me or not, but I do some interdimensional shit. You know, so it's how we do our Friday mornings, interdimensional travel.
Yeah, well, and actually, we're doing that every morning. It's just sometimes some people pick certain days to do it and others don't.
If the whole parallel universe thing, and I'm really into that. Let's just say that we have multiple existences going at the same time with all different kinds of results, but you know, kind of the same. I wish I could kind of cherry pick on how I want my day to go, and depending on what parallel I want to capture that day. I wish it was like a catalog where I can wake up and say, okay, what existence is going to have a good day? I'm going to do that one today. You know what I'm saying, bro?
Hmm. But
JFK.
oh, JFK, RFK, MLK. Did you notice that there's three Ks going on there? I'm not sure what that means.
KKK, bro.
They're all Ks, which is kind of interesting. Of
You know
course,
what I
they
just
were
found out
related.
yesterday?
Hmm.
ADHD of talk radio, folks, that people with the word son at the end of their name, that's so back in the days, that's how they would get the first name of the father, and they would use the first name of the father and son when he had a child as a surname. That's how they came up with the surnames. I had no idea, bro. That's how, like, Jameson. James was the dad's effing name, and he had a son. And that's how he gave the son the last name for identification.
One of along those lines, one of the things that I'm still confused about is this whole junior thing. I get the junior on the first one,
Yeah.
but the one that screws me up is the second, the third, the
So
fourth.
I attempted that, bro. I did. I rolled the dice when Rocky was born. I got the junior. But then, you know, Lisa got pregnant again. Don't know how that happened, but she got
Uh,
pregnant again. Um, I don't know if you know I'm a virgin, but anyways,
that's what
um,
I've heard. Yeah, according to all the women I've talked to. Yeah.
I tried for the second double junior. I didn't know how to phrase it though, and so I think that's where I didn't sell it correctly. Because I'm like, they're like, well, what do you want to name? I'm like, well, Rocky Junior Junior. I threw the double junior. You know what I'm saying? I didn't say the second or the
Double
third or
J.
whatever it's supposed to be, right? So yeah, I failed, bro. So it's Mario.
I mean, I don't. That's a whole nother rabbit hole of how certain names have these assumed nicknames. Like the mother of my children, her name was Margaret, but she went as Peggy. I couldn't see how do you get Peggy out of Margaret.
Well,
Now,
common clarity speaking.
I as a Robert, I went through this bullshit in high school. Everybody went as Bob. And in Southern California in the 70s, it was everybody was Bob.
It's
If
not.
you walk,
I don't see a Bob in you, bro. I don't see a
no,
Bob.
well, you go across the quad during between classes, you're, hey, Bob, and five guys that turn around and go, huh? So I said, I don't like this name. And then
Hey, go to Bob's Informatica.
yeah,
No, see, I'm
right.
not
Well,
feeling that shit, bro.
let's make it even better and call him Bobby. Dr.
Yeah.
Reed, doesn't come on, that gives you a little stimulation, doesn't it?
It actually kind of did. If you noticed my reaction on that, bro, I kind of paused for a second because I had to kind
I know
of.
you had to ponder that
I
for a
actually had a flashback of that one time I remote viewed at the wrong time at your house. That's where I just went. It was fantastic, bro. I mean, but damn, you do that shit by
well,
yourself.
and so Robert, I went and looked at my birth certificate. I said, "Mom, what is it's Robert?" I just made that conscious change. No, I'm Robert. And then as I went through life, occasionally and another one of those weird connections or weird anomalies. When people forget your name and they try to say it back to you in a conversation or something, or they just miss it, the most common name that I've been given in those moments is Richard. It's like, well, how the fuck do you get Richard out of Robert? And of course, then there's the other associated. How does Dick come out of a Rick
Oh
or
well, you
a
just back
Richard? How
up.
does a Richard
You
become a
just
Dick?
you just back up. That's all.
Right? Yeah.
That's
Okay.
like you know what I'm saying. That's how you get a Richard. Never mind.
So basically, what you're saying is the Dicks always have your back.
Visuals, bro. I just had visuals, a whole bunch of them. It was not a good sight. I mean, it was
Well,
it
yeah,
was not made for kids. That's for damn sure. And I'm
might
thinking
need.
of bidet shit right now. You know, weird. Hey, can I ask you a question?
Yeah,
Okay, so after that kind, if you sit on a bidet, does it not work the same afterwards?
I don't know. I have in my European travels, I had the opportunity to try, and I couldn't figure those things out. I ended up taking a shower, and it felt like my whole ass, everything, legs, everything sprayed. It's like,
Oh,
was the bidet wrong? Was it,
yeah,
what's going on there?
yeah. No, no. You got to go to Ron Phillips's house and just use his bidet because, dude, it's spot on, accurate, spot on target, and blow dryer. No shower needed. It's
Well,
good.
what kind of feeling does it give you? I mean,
Since
I'm
it's
trying to figure out
fantastic.
what.
It's spiritual. It's spiritual. It's spiritual. Something, it's uncomfortable at first because it goes against some standards because you think there's some weird stuff going on because of the tickle. So it gets weird. It does tickle. Um,
I,
but you
I, I,
giggle, bro. You giggle. You're just like, you're like, no, stop.
yeah, I'm starting. We're approaching TMI range here.
Woo.
All right, so yeah, so back to this name thing, right? I'm like, how does all that shit work? And then why? What is the proclivity? What's the reason for people? And you're perfect to ask this. Why would you want to name your offspring after you?
Well, so with my situation, with my family's background, it has a lot to do with heritage. And
More of a
my family's not a
cultural.
big, yep, it's not a big family where
Yeah.
there's not a lot of Stucci's in the United States. Um, and it's a legacy thing. It may be a little egotistical, but it's a legacy thing too. I'm
Yeah.
very proud of the Stucci name. I mean, we have been through some fucking horrors.
Hmm.
Um, but dude, it's just like to know who my family is. There's things that I probably should talk more about because it would help a lot of people. Um,
Heritage.
yeah, bro, I tell you, people understood a lot of things about my family and growing up. It's been a battle to survive this and to all overcome things. You get this, brother.
Oh yeah.
Man, I tell you, I love I mean, my dad was hung off a damn bridge, bro, by his feet. I mean, Jesus, my God. And he was telling him to let go. You know what I'm saying? I mean, that takes some balls, bro. That was
Oh
the
yeah.
Hell's Angels. They held him by his feet, hanging him off a bridge.
Well,
Yeah.
so I understand that. I think that is
Is that
probably
is that
well.
the wrong motive though?
Well, I am completely open on this. I'm asking the question because I don't know. I ended up with two daughters,
Roberta's, bro.
right? And they have been married and now they have a different last name.
Does that bother you?
No,
It would kind of bother me. I
it
would ask my
feels
daughters, I'm like,
well.
would you like to Stucci Dash? You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah, what's and that's one of those other anomalies in the matrix is that did you know that hyphenated? What that means, right? It means that something's got a dash in it, right?
Yeah.
So non-hyphenated, that word has a dash in it. Non-hyphen hyphenated.
You can't do this shit to me this early in the morning, bro.
What? Whoa, there's an anomaly there. Why is the non-hyphenated word actually have the hyphen in it?
I don't know.
Just another mystery in the matrix to ponder, right? So, so let's go back to the whole. We started off. We kind of fell down this little rabbit hole with that nugget you tossed in there about MLK and JFK and
Yeah, man.
RFK. Apparently, these documents, all this information coming out. Now, uh, as we talked yesterday, one of the best ways, in my opinion, to gauge your grasp of reality is to cast a prediction and see how it comes out, right?
Yep.
And if things unfold as you predicted, then whatever you're using to make that prediction apparently was a good tool set. Okay. So I don't think we're going to find very much in these releases of any consequence. Primarily because if you think about the fact that these documents have been sequestered and held by who knows who for decades, You don't think these boys went through and kind of scrubbed some of that shit?
So
Do you think there's a memo in there that explicitly says, "Okay, we're planning this assassination. Here's the folks that are going to do it, and we're ready to go," and signed? Do you think that memo exists in that treasure trove of documents?
no.
I don't think so. My, I think that there's been way more time to scrub this shit. Whoever's got custody of it, and that the things that are going to come out will be enough to basically, as you said in the show title. Oh,
Um,
hold on, my recording stopped.
yeah, that's
Oh,
just get that thing recording again, bro. Dang. Okay. Okay. See, you can't be doing that to me, bro. So that's what happens when you notice a technical. Oh, there he is. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the program, Mr. Bauer. What is what? Dude, I wasn't ready for that. All of a sudden, I was full screen. I was just like, hey,
that's not what I want to see this time of the morning.
that was too
In
close, man.
Not in 4K. Thank you.
Holy shit. The best conversations are always just a series of different rabbit. Man, I think me and Mary, we've been negotiating BFF terms. You know what I mean? So
Mm.
we're working on becoming. She dropped some serious truth bombs, bro. I love rabbit holes. Go ahead, bro.
Isn't it?
Go ahead.
Isn't it, the rabbit holes is where all the magic is? That's actually where all reality is.
Do you think there's some Alice in Wonderland shit going on right now?
I think in different ways, depending on what part of that story you want to attack, because there's a whole bunch of layers there. There's a lot going on in that story, from psychedelics to, I mean, all kinds of crazy things. When you start getting into the plant medicine, which I think is going to be one of the most important things we're going to see
Mm-hmm.
in this new age, this golden age of, basically, we've gone from the age of nonsense to the age of common sense. And I think what we're going to see is the realization that, plant medicine is not alternative, it's the original. And there's a reason that it is here. There's a reason that it has the effects, the psilocybins, the MDMAs, the DMT, ayahuasca, all of the amazing psychological benefits that are coming out of this natural world that's been here probably long before us, or maybe in conjunction with us, a whole nother simulation theory that could be explored. But all of that is here. I mean, take cannabis, right?
Yep.
One of the things that about 3 years ago, and it was
What is
primarily because
cannabis? What is that again?
cannabis is that multi-use plant that you can use it for food, for clothing, for building, for anything that you can imagine, and it's a little five-finger, typically leafy thing that people sometimes confuse with oregano.
Oh, you mean as some refer to as God's lettuce,
God's lettuce, yes, God's lettuce. Because
best medicine on the planet.
you can put cannabis on anything and in anything.
Anything,
And
and you're happy about it.
so my point is that I've been a connoisseur for 53 years.
Yep.
And I remember all of the chastisement, the ridicule, the finger pointing and wagging and bullshit. Oh, you're just a dope smoker, and then the whole thing of remember back in 80s when that commercial came out with the eggs going into a fry pan and it says, "This is your brain on drugs." When I
Yeah,
remember
bro.
that
Yeah,
commercial,
dude.
remember?
Right. Yeah. Or that was the Nancy
Remember that?
Reagan thing.
Yeah, Nancy. Yeah, and I looked at that and I said, no. If my brain was on drugs, I see some bacon in there and I'd see some hash browns in there, smothered and covered and everything else.
See, we think shit like that, bro. That's the crazy thing. You know what I'm saying? Is we think that. We're just like, no, that ain't my brain because there's no syrup in the bitch.
Yeah, right.
I love syrup and mayonnaise on
Oh,
white bread.
oh, and I think that our soon-to-be 51st state north of the border there, when we start getting their maple syrup. Oh, and it's going to be a lot cheaper.
Well,
I'm
dude,
gonna
honestly,
I'm
there's a
gonna
lot
get a
of
vat of
people
that.
right just north of where my dad lives in Minnesota. One of his buddies, he was a pigeon flyer, and then how he made his money was he had acres of the trees.
Mhm.
And do you ever see how they do it? How they just kind of they just do this little line, That's all. It's just this little tiny line they do in the tree. I thought they just corked the bitch. You know, like they just screwed a fucking cork in the thing. You know, I
Yeah,
never knew.
put a spigot on it. Yeah.
Yeah, well, that'll kill the tree. You know, you're sitting there poking all the holes in the damn thing, and it's not going to give the longevity of the tree. So all they do is they just kind of scratch the bark, and
Mhm.
it just, it's weird how it just goes down the line and it just drips. Just drips. And some people just watch it drip all day.
Plant medicine.
It's
You
all
think
from Earth, bro.
that is the
We're
entire.
squeezing a tree to put on our pancakes. You know what I'm saying? We're wringing out a tree to say, "Ooh, that tastes good on my pancakes." I never thought of it like that. That's kind of weird. Or are you looking at the double fist part? Did that make you uncomfortable?
Well, yeah, there was, yeah, and then the little lighter
I did the
sticking out of the
twist.
top of your hand there. See, yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
That's what I'm talking about.
That's
Hey,
what I
by the
came
way,
here
man,
for to see.
we are streaming today on Twitter as well. I'm gonna start streaming on Twitter every day. We're streaming on Rumble, YouTube, and I think Rocky Stucci Media Facebook page. Make sure you like, subscribe. We are live every Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, 9 o'clock a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And of course, you can catch Mr. Robert Bauer right here on the program. Go to robertbauer.com and look his ass up on Bauer Media on his YouTube channel because that dude is pumping some serious content. Bauer Media on YouTube. So, Brother Bauer, this JFK stuff, man, let me ask you this. We have all these conspiracy theories. You kind of mentioned that how we've been attacked, right? Not attacked, but you know, we've been kind of
Yeah,
frowned
we've been
upon.
attacked. It's
Okay,
been an
yeah,
attack.
yeah. So kiss my ass for one, for everybody who attacked us.
Hmm.
Um, but all we're always trying to do is just dissect reality and understand truth, the real truth, not narrative. It just seems like every single thing that was always this radical right-wing tinfoil hat conspiracy, they're all true. So what does that make the people that thought that we were nuts? What does that make them?
Well, there's first of all, I think there's multiple layers of that. There are those who are who are guiding and navigating and pushing it. They're the ones that have got all of the malintent and are driving the narrative. Then you have those underneath that are, pick it up and they're supposed to go execute and carry it forth. Then you have the ones underneath them that are just kind of followers. They're really not, they're like, well, I've chosen this idea, this path, this ideology, and the herd's going this way, so I'm a part of that, so I'm in. I'm going. So there's different levels of it, but the to your question, I mean, these guys, the folks that have been running, holding on the reins, right, and steering the coach, um, they're at the end of a 400-year cycle that is ending. That energy cycle that they've been riding is vaporizing. It's transitioning. That cycle is finishing, and a new cycle is entering. Right. So there's remember we talked yesterday about this energetic cycle through the uh, galactic current sheet coming out of the middle of the galaxy, right?
Yeah,
Well,
galactic shit going on.
that stuff is way beyond us in any way, shape, or form. It's the nature of the cosmos, and it don't care what we're doing. It don't care about us. It doesn't acknowledge us other than another energy manifestation within the space that it is inhabiting.
Right,
And it's going,
right.
all right, okay, here, have some of this.
We kind of technically don't exist in the broader scope of space. We're just kind of like these little creatures on this little frickin' speck of whatever floating around in this little light. You know, get a little back
Well,
over here. Don't ever do that.
well, I think that we are important, and that there is a reason for the manifestation that we're having. We're not experiencing a reality that we're trying to sort through and make sense out of for no reason. I think there's a purpose to it. I think there's an iterative process to this conscious experience that we have, and we go through these multiple iterations, and there's some kind of reason that this biological carbon-based meat suit is an important part of that experience.
I look at humans different when you say meat suit, though. You know what I'm saying? It's like I see things hanging up in a closet. It's the weirdest visual right now. But yeah, I hear you.
One of the best scenes that I've seen on that is and what I think is one of the best series of all time for a whole bunch of reasons is Marvel's Agents of Shield that ran for 7 years. It was 2013 to 2020, I think.
Okay. Okay.
Phenomenal storyline, great writing. I mean, everything was done. Production, acting, all of it was great. But in one of the episodes, they encounter this chronic, chronicom, and his name is Enoch. And chronicom is from Chronos, and it is a race of sentient, anatomical, basically synthetic computers.
Mhm.
So they're designed to have sentience, but to have no emotion. They're designed to have logic, but no, and reasoning, but they don't do anything outside of that, and they live for like 40, 50,000 years. There's a scene in one of them where they show him in his, coming in, he looks like a regular person, he's bald and all that, he looks kind of like he could be an alien, but he looks like a normal man, and he's doing his thing, and they show him going into the shower, and he unzips his meat suit and throws it up on the bed, and then all they show is the shadow of him behind the curtain, and it's less like this real skinny alien kind of
What?
body.
That could
So
be
that goes,
real.
yeah, yeah, right. I mean, it's a great scene, but it's to the point you're talking about. Meat suits. We are in a meat suit. We our energetic existence and being inhabits this meat suit, and that's what animates it. That's why our our meat suits right now are exchanging meatballs.
That's weird, dude. Again, bad visuals. You know, that last word, man. You know, it's this whole thing's just happening in a weird way. It's really early. You
It's
know,
early.
it's kind of hard to digest. You know, meatballs and meat suits in the same sentence. This early in the morning. What the hell is going
Speaking
on?
speaking about balls,
Dude,
uh,
Twitter's lit right now, bro. I don't like going to Twitter or X or whatever you want to call it.
yeah.
We're streaming there right now, but I just went and put in the hashtag declassified. Just like, just out of curiosity, you know what I'm saying? First, first, the only thing I keep seeing is the whole Elon Musk. Boy, they're just taking that shit and running with that. And
It's because they got nothing else.
to my understanding, I don't want to get into it, but there's other people that do that. To my understanding, I don't know. You know what? I don't even want to entertain it because I don't know. Let me research some things first before I start having a conversation. I've just, is that kind of go to what we're talking about though? But I know it's not language, but it's symbolism
Well, it's symbols are language, first of all,
in its form. Correct. Right.
right? And there's that saying, a painting is worth 1,000 words, but a symbol is worth 1,000 paintings.
See, bro, that's early. That's some okay.
And the point being is that it's symbology, like the cross in
Yep.
Christianity.
Hmm.
All of the different symbols that have been used by different civilizations have had great and deep meaning. People would look at those symbols and they'd have an entire narrative show up in their mind just from that symbol, a historical narrative of battles and conquests and
Yep.
whatever it might be.
Flags.
Everything, all that symbology is to make is to create an image that evokes all of these other ideas and thoughts and knowledge and information and so forth. So, to this whole Musk thing, I mean, good grief. Uh, the compilation of all of the people that have been whining and waxing on ad nauseum about it, doing the exact same arm movement in front of crowds is too rich. So
So I
it
just posted that.
demonstrates it
Did you see what I
demonstrates a
just posted there?
let's see. The French president's doing what?
So a few years ago, Macron did it,
Yeah.
and so did the governor. So did Waltz. When he did, and
Yeah.
see, I'm grown up enough, man, and I think I'm adult enough, and does not always jump to conclusion right away because sometimes when you're on a stage and you're caught up in the moment and you're doing the thank you and then you do a wave, it
Hmm.
can anybody can say, oh my god, it kind of looks like what? Oh, he's a fucking Nazi. It's just like I never would imply that immediately, right? Unless there
Well,
was a history there.
well, the reason that you didn't think it without hearing people say it is that because what your common sense meter said was, Oh, that this guy is just lit. Okay, he's showing his emotion. He's expression, and every time we've seen him at anything that has to do with Trump, he's been this seriously energetic dude, which is what he is anyway. Someone who owns 6 or 7 of the most consequential businesses of our time, and has made each one of them extremely successful.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, there's the only reason that that whole thing was brought up is my point. That's all they have. They don't have anything else to go after him with, or to go after anybody with. It's not policy. It's always personality, and that's how you know the people that who are most likely inaccurate, incorrect on whatever it is that they are trying to push. That's how you know that's the first ones you go, well, bullshit meter just pegged. You're out. Bye bye. Move along. Whatever you have to add to the conversation is not only not valuable, but it's destructive. And that's what we've seen. As I think I said yesterday, we didn't just have an election, we had a selection. And it was a selection of basically going from nonsense to common sense. Hold on 1 second here. I got something inbound here. Hold on.
Oh, he has something inbound, bro. Dude, we got action, folks, live on the Rocky Stucci Show right here. You know what's really weird? Here, I'll put it on full screen until he gets back. I gotta, let me see. I don't know. Does that work? No, that ain't the right one. There it is. But he's back. He had something inbound. See, bro, that's the second time I wasn't prepared. I'm still a little rusty. I'm still a little rusty.
Rusty Rocky, right?
There is some squeaks when I get up in the morning and some crackle-lackling going on, bro. For real. Not even lying.
Dude, my guitars behind me, they yell at me every time I walk in. I haven't played anywhere near as much as I used to, should, or would like to.
Right? In your defense, though, I mean, we talked yesterday offline. You repackaged Robert Bauer, and the amount of work entailed in that, dude, that was at least a year. In the morning, I have kind of a hard time talking. It's like I got kind of like thick lips.
Mm-hmm.
Weird. All right, Rocky. Yeah. So, Bill Cooper.
So, yeah, this whole weaponization of language, the Zieghow thing, is nothing more than a distraction because that's all they've got. There's nothing on policy. There's nothing of any substance. It's always character assassination. That's what the whole identity movement is about. That's what all of this bullshit the nonsense that we have been suffering under for literally, in my opinion, the really serious cycle of bullshit started with O'Bumble in 2008.
They're getting a divorce,
I don't know what's
allegedly,
going on.
I'm trying to use the right language. Allegedly, they're on the outs. Michael and Obama are on the outs. Not going good. That's why she didn't go to the inauguration. And there's been some things going on behind the scenes. And yeah, I guess they are human. They are human.
Well, that may be a separation of the contractual arrangement that was made for the meat suits. In other words, there are our cosmic cousins, I think, are afoot, and they are purposely being as obfuscated and obtuse as they can so that they can essentially help navigate the nonsense that this energy wave. I think they knew that it was coming, and I think they've been gathering around, getting ready and watching the show. They're lighting up their own alien popcorn.
Yeah, it's like they showed up right during the time it happens.
Well, and it's how much of it is actually they.
Correct. That's the part that's confusing me, man.
Right.
I just seen a recent video, another one, and it was pretty fascinating. It was a great video too. It was clear. It was clear, and it wasn't like a solid structure. Those are the ones right there, Bauer, that kind of confused me. They look like you can't even really tell how it's shaped. I don't know if it's just energy. If it's
orbs.
Yeah, bro. So it's like you can kind of see it's like, okay, I see a ship, but then you're like, no, I don't. It's like I'm seeing like something around it, I don't know. It's just I don't know what to say anymore. And if they're man-made, I mean, that is some serious technology, dude. to where if we can make shit shape shift mid-flight without sound at zero gravity, man, we're advanced as shit, way more advanced than I thought we were.
So one of the gentlemen, one of the geezers on my Geezer Geek shows that we were doing last year on Saturday nights, Jim Goodall, is an aviation historian, and he's got 29 books or so. The latest one was 75 years of skunk works. All right, skunk works is where the infamous Ben Rich was the head, right? And just before Rich died in the mid '90s, he was Jim and Jim Goodall and Ben Rich were in communication. Uh, Jim tells the story of how Ben Rich told him. Jim asked him, "What's going on at Area 51?" And Ben said, "Look, anything that you've seen in the movies, Star Trek, any of that stuff, we've already done that. That's
What?
already done. We can take
Wait,
ET home now." This is back in the '90s. Okay. So
they can take ET home now?
30 years ago, we could take ET home.
Where's home?
Wherever home is, we have interstellar travel capability, at least interplanetary.
If they asked you to go through one of those where you walk through, it looks like water to go to a different place, would you do it?
Like a Stargate.
But there wasn't a guarantee that you can get back.
I would ask for as much information as possible, then make an informed decision. My inclination would probably be, if we have it and it's a portal that you can actually that works, that you actually go somewhere else, I'd probably lean to going.
Would you
One of the
would you be
people
willing to experiment? Would you be willing to be the first one to see if it works?
Nah, I don't think that's for a younger man.
Yeah, it's for somebody you don't like. Be like, no, have him go first. You know what I'm saying? And
Hmm.
and so when he disintegrates walking through that puddle, then well, no, it didn't work.
Well, to the point that Ben was making, as Jim tells the story, the technology that we have is way beyond anything that is known in the public domain. And this goes back to this whole JFK in particular, the release of these documents. The I think the prevailing theory that I think kind of makes sense is that the main reason Kennedy was he was basically pulling a Trump. He wanted to get rid of the Federal Reserve. He wanted to get together with Russia and do joint shit, and he wanted to disclose alien technology. Well, that couldn't be done. That was not going to be allowed with the people that were holding on to all of that stuff. So, if indeed, I think if one of the things that may come out, going back to my kind of predictive look into the future of what may happen here. First of all, as I said, I don't think there's going to be any major revelations other than it will give a clear indication that this was not the narrative of the Warren Commission and the officialdom.
So
This,
so when you get documents that are released, and the almost 90% of the document, bro, is blacked out. Is that really the release of confidential information? Because you're really not getting anything except crossed out words that you don't know what they are.
well, the whole redacted thing is a real, it's a one of those things that has just been nothing more than a pain in the ass. There's a bunch of narrative around the idea that we way overclassify shit, that it's out of control.
Well, they got to make it difficult to get the truth.
And obfuscation is the best way, and especially under a legal authoritative.
Make it sound like it's for the good. We're
Right.
doing it to protect you.
Yeah, and in some cases, I think that is a truism. I think
Sure.
there are things that you don't want people to know.
But anything good that we have always falls in the wrong hands of the wrong people, and we corporatize it, and then we politicize it, and then we weaponize it, and then we ruin it.
Well, one of the interesting things may be with this JFK release, going back to my point on the technology. If JFK was actually wanted to release the stuff, right, all of the docs, or release the knowledge that we are not alone, we are in contact, and we are actually working with cosmic cousins from another place, right? They actually are hominid in form. They're walking among us now and have been for millennia. So we're not as different as what the movies portray from our cosmic cousins, and that is going to be another one of the shocking parts of it. But the thing that I think may happen is that instead of the focus of what actually happened, who killed JFK, coming out of these documents,
Mhm.
I think that they might highlight the fact that what he was trying to do was release this alien knowledge and use that as a whoa, wait a minute, JFK knew about this stuff back then and he was trying to let it out, and now all of a sudden we're having the same kind of thing. Now all of a sudden there's this, but it's on steroids. And I think that linking the connection to JFK and therefore having the knowledge of this stuff for decades, keeping all the cool shit from the kids on the playground. That's why I've been beating up, or not beating up, I've been trying to gently nudge and correct some of the ufology folks because they're all just arguing amongst themselves. They sound like, it's just, and nothing new is coming out of it.
Dude, I literally, and I love a ton of people within that community, but it is just, it's too much, dude. It's
They're,
the
they're,
drama, man. It's too much.
and it's very akin to the same shit in paranormal. I am so tired of hearing about Dogman and Bigfoot and and all these other existential creatures that nobody has any empirical data about. They just have an experience. Well, my camera wouldn't work, or my phone went off, or I got a little piece of hair, or I maybe got, I think it's a footprint. And I'm not disparaging any of that. I'm just saying that the narratives are all this common, regurgitated, same stuff that now they argue amongst themselves.
It's
So
kind
my
of like
point,
arguing over the Bible, dude. There's some things people argue about that can never be proven. It's just like, so how do you argue that? How do you debate that? Let me ask you something though. In regards to the cosmic cousins, let's say that information came out where the government told us that, yeah, they've been living among us for, pretty much the whole damn time, whatever, right? Let's just say
hmm
that that's hypothetically the case.
hmm
And, but they really didn't identify really who, what, where, and when. They just says, yeah, they're here. How do you think that the population would react to that? Do you think we'd start getting kind of like the alien paranoia shit going on? We'd be at the bar and just be like, I wonder if that son of a bitch is an alien. You know what I'm saying? How do you think we would react to that?
well, I think again, there are multiple levels of different reaction. So, for example, the main thing, and this is my point about the ufology community, they keep going on about disclosure. To me, it's no, it's exposure. If disclosing the fact that we're not alone is the main theme under this disclosure movement. I mean, that's ridiculous. We have known about ancient civilizations and ancient cosmic cousins for millennia. It's in every writing of every civilization of their cosmology that we've ever uncovered.
Yep.
So it's like, no, it's not disclosure, it's exposure. And what it is exposing this knowledge that we're talking about. The fact that they have held all the cool toys away from the kids on the playground and they have manipulated them to their benefit and to the detriment of us. Think of
Yeah.
what the world would be like right now if that technology was made into commercial and public use. Free energy, free water, free communications,
They wouldn't be able to
ubiquitous
control
all
us,
over the
bro.
place.
If we were self-reliant, I mean, there was that guy up in St. Cloud, Minnesota. He had a tiny little windmill in his backyard, dude. He lived on a lake. It was a tiny little thing, enough maybe to produce a little energy for who knows a TV. It wasn't big. So the city was going to put him in prison because he was generating his own electricity. Because by the city code, you had to get the electricity through the power company. So if he didn't take it down, he was going to prison. So he took it down. Then what happened? They showed up, and because he still had the concrete slab, they were going to incarcerate him on the spot. They had to watch him break the concrete up in front of them, or he was going to get arrested. So the control of power and energy, like you just said, bro, it's to control us little sheep, but make us
Mhm.
feel free. You know what I'm saying? Make us feel free.
We would have had the Jetsons a decade after the Jetsons cartoon came out.
Ooh, that's deep. That's deep.
Yeah, seriously. I mean, all of what's interesting is if you look at some of those cartoons, the whole communication through a screen and sitting there talking to somebody in someplace else, the whole flying car thing. Um, so my point there is that I think that what we're seeing is an exposure of knowledge and information that has been sequestered and kept from humanity. And that is going to piss off people because you asked what would happen if the aliens showed up. What are going to be the reactions? And there's multiple levels to it. People in the we were talking yesterday about the Abrahamic
Hmm.
belief systems, right? Those are the ones that are going to be hit the hardest because the characters, the personalities at the top of the three major delineations of that belief system, they're not going to be what we find. So the basically the head or the personality, the persona of each one of those belief systems is going to be whacked. So then, what does that mean? Well, everything else that flowed down from that entity as declarations of the system and the way you believe and act and conduct and think and all that other shit is going to be all subject because the top is gone. Now, when you go to Southeast Asia and you go to the older belief systems, Buddhism, Hinduism, Shinto, Jainism, Taoism, which I follow, they don't have it. There is no hierarchy bullshit in there. There is no persona at the top that has dictated the conduct of its carbon units.
So the so when we talk about
They will survive it. They will go. They'll go. We told you.
yeah,
We've been right about it for thousands of years. Those
is
people are going to be fine.
isn't kind of like the theory of Atlantis? Isn't they were kind of like that type of civilization to where it was everybody equal, all in harmony, all the same frequency. Isn't that kind of what they talk about? Atlantis is more of a life like that, and we don't have anything to prove it. I'm just trying to compare.
Well, the mythos about it, and which is, mythos. That's another word, right? A
I
myth. A
felt that
myth.
though, bro. I felt super smart when you said it. I felt like I was somewhere. You know what I'm saying?
Well, the root word myth in its original form meant truth, but that's been hijacked and turned into skepticism and possibly a story induced by some gaseous consumption of an underground substance that sends you into some psychedelic afterlife.
Well, I like the psychedelic part, but the afterlife, I can wait on that part.
Well, but that's where that whole plant medicine thing we talked about earlier, the psychedelic, that's where you can actually start exploring the whole before birth reality.
I already forgot about that. Damn, bro. Did we exist?
Of course.
So did we have to like buy a ticket to like go in some kind of like a lottery to be like, yeah, hey, you got picked to be the winning sperm? You know what I mean?
Um, Nobody really knows, but there's a lot of speculation about it. And I think what it is it, like I was saying earlier, it's an iterative process. We are unique frequency stamps in the infinite field of frequencies that is the result of consciousness. Consciousness expresses itself always in motion, always creating more, and apparently always seeking novelty because there's always more of it and there's always new shit. So it just seems to work that way. The how and the why, wrap that however you want, put it in whatever package you want. But that's how it works. So our
Well, think
individual,
about it though. When you have okay, so that one story of that kid who never identified as his birth name because he kept claiming he was a World War II pilot. And you heard the story or similar stories where they would bring the child to the location where his plane was shot down in a past life. So if so, let's go to the past life theory. So you die in a past life, and then you're reincarnated. So yeah, I guess speculation would say that you have to be somewhere before you go to the next destination. So you're somewhere
Mhm.
before you're birthed again.
Well, that's that infinite field of frequencies. The cosmos that we observe when we
Yeah,
look through telescopes and stuff,
it's deep.
that, those are just energetic manifestations of the infinite field of frequencies. They have a certain frequency that they manifest as in the materium that we experience. But that comes from what we, at least from our senses, and particularly in the limited senses in our carbon-based meat suits, we don't see that shit. You're not. Our senses can't pick that up. We get a little sliver of the vast field of frequencies that are available in both the sound and light spectrum. And we can go down a whole nother rabbit hole and talk about some Walter Russell stuff, and in that actually light is the result of sound,
Oh,
which is a very fascinating concept. Terrence Howard, you remember he dropped in the scene last year and just started blowing everybody's minds with his whole concept of reality and physics. He took the periodic table and said it's not two-dimensional, it's three-dimensional, which is exactly what Walter Russell was talking about, which changed the concept of the way physics thinks and looks at the materium that they keep trying to calculate and mathematically model. And it doesn't matter how many men, math models, and machines you throw at this shit. They're not going to find what they think they're looking for because they're looking for the wrong thing in the wrong place for the wrong reasons. And that's a part of this great, we talked about the series of greats that we're in. The awakening has happened. That we're in the process of the great reveal. That's also kicked off the great rethink. So people are all of a sudden they're aware of shit that they didn't know about
Yep.
and corrects a whole bunch of shit they thought they knew about. And now you're going, well, now it's being revealed to me that I didn't have all the available data, and a lot of the data that I had was poisoned, manipulated,
Yep.
mangled,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
So now you're starting to see all this additional information in that great reveal, which is causing people to go, wait a minute, I got to have a rethink about this.
And that's why, dude, sometimes when there's events, I don't always just jump right in, because, and I think that's where media really slips because I understand they're trying to get information out there and they're trying to get news out there. But sometimes that becomes dangerous because, they're on there and they're going to start implying things, right? They're going to start doing like what we do, right? But we're not breaking the story. So they're going to start theoretically speaking on what could or could have happened or didn't happen. And then all of a sudden, those thoughts get implanted in other people's thoughts. And then they start theoretically coming up with what happened
Yeah.
instead of just saying, let's give it 24 hours. Let's give it 48 hours. Let's hear some of the investigation before we actually start saying this is what theoretically happened.
And we're fed a prepackaged narrative
Yeah.
with which to think about it, investigate it, and try to understand it. And the key, and that's the whole thing, the reason I think informatica got dropped into my noggin is that you have to look at the information in its purest form,
Mm-hmm.
in its rawest form. And to your point about the reaction time of people and the talking heads and the mockingbird media, I like to give everything at least a 24, maybe 48-hour pause before I have enough information that I can make some kind of informed observation about.
Right.
Because the stuff that comes out now, and
It's all too much. It's too much. And it changes 15 times an hour.
right, and you're like, how do you keep up with that? What is the information processing system that you use in order to navigate the tsunami of shit and the deluge of data that you're in?
Well, and what happens sometimes, brother, what I've just noticed through observation is that sometimes people will grab the narrative that suits their tribal logical belief. You know what I'm saying? And they'll keep
Right.
that. No matter what, they'll keep it. And then they'll create the narrative in their defense around that. And it's just like, well, that's not real anymore, right? There's nothing about that makes it real. Rapid Dog had a question really quick. I'd like to hear your response on it, though, in regards to dreams. So we talk about pre-life and after death, in regards to spirit frequency and all. Dreams, where, what, when, and what's going on there?
My best interpretation is that it's the mind, which is not the brain. It goes back to there's a delineation in this carbon-based, this materium that we inhabit in this carbon-based meat suit form. The brain is the neurological organ of this meat suit, just like the heart is a circulatory organ, right? That's all it is. The consciousness, where the mind is, where your thinking actually occurs, is in your mind, which is separate. It interfaces with the brain. If you think about the sensory capacity and systems that we have, they're all located in the head.
Yep.
You see, you smell, you hear, you taste, right?
Yep.
So there's a reason that I think is constructed that way. I don't know why, but it seems logical to me.
Well, I'm
So
glad I don't smell in my belly button. You know what I'm saying, though? I
yeah,
really wouldn't want to smell my steak by rubbing it on my stomach.
I'm not. You just triggered a thought. I'm not going to go there because it will derail the
Sample.
entire thing.
Ooh.
So to answer Rapid Dog's question from my perspective, dreams are the conscious exploration. Remember when I said that we are frequency stamps of the infinite field of frequencies that's created by energy of consciousness. Consciousness expresses itself as energy. That energy is expressed as frequencies in an infinite field that we can't even fathom in ways in which it'll manifest whatever it is whatever its proclivity, whatever its resonance is, that's what it'll manifest. Well, part of the key thing of consciousness, when you look at its characteristics, its nature, and its habits, is it's always on. So in our dreams, Rapid Dog, our mind, our consciousness is always on, and that's our mind and our consciousness at play. The separation, realizing that our energetic essence is separate but integrated with the meat suit,
That's what I was just going to ask you. Yep.
is why you can astral travel. It's why you can have these psychic abilities of divination and any of the clairs, voyance, audience, etc. Why remote viewers can do what they do. Why
So there could be,
tarot.
so you're saying there could be true interpretation to some of the experiences within that realm of dreaming.
Absolutely. I think it's the closest thing to consciousness unleashed that we experience in this iteration in this materium.
Do you think we could have dreams beyond? Well, I guess you just said that. You talked about astral projection and you talked about that. Because, dude, there's times where, sometimes I wonder if dreams are past lives. Like my dad, like the last, I don't know how many years, he might have heard me talk about this. He sees almost like full apparitions. And my he's a Catholic, right? And he still serves Mass. He's a 78-year-old Catholic man who still serves Mass. So I reference that just so you all understand where his faith is at, and with the paranormal and all this other stuff. He woke up one night, and there was like a Western style guy standing over him, pointing a fucking 6-shooter at him. There was another night he woke up. There was the guy standing next to him, just watching the baseball game, because my dad loves watching baseball. So he goes in the basement, watches baseball. He woke up, and there was a guy. He explained the guy like the guy was real. And it's not hallucinations, because we've gotten incredible EVPs in my parents' house. Incredible EVPs.
So my explanation for that is that all of these paranormal, these disembodied, incorporeal entities that we seem to see, that we have these experiences with and people encounter, those are individual frequency stamps that had occurred in the event stream of the field of frequencies that are always in motion and always creating more and cycling within cycles.
Could those frequencies be infiltrated?
Well, it depends on the use of infiltrated. I think it's more influenced or affected.
Influence is a much better word, yeah.
Than an infiltration. Because all of us, all of the things that we experience in this infinite field of frequencies are interacting with all the other frequencies in the infinite field.
Mm-hmm.
And there are harmonious and disharmonious interactions that occur. So these spirits, like the spirit boxes and the encounters of the paranormal, those are just other examples and iterations of frequency stamps that we don't clearly understand. But they exist because they are a part of the infinite field that we are a part of. That's why we're able to interact. And it's the same thing to me, with time travel and interdimensional, omnidimensional, whatever people want to talk about as far as the different layers of the reality we inhabit. To me, it's just all a big field of frequencies. So you're just shifting, and that's what remote viewers do. It's like, in order for them to go find something, they have to basically find the frequency of that stamp, tune into it like on a radio, and then go there.
Yeah.
And that, to me, is how all the reality that we experience functions. We don't understand a lot of it. There's a lot of weird shit that doesn't seem to be compatible with what we experience in our material world. But
what's weird is when you just referenced the remote viewing, it literally just made everything make sense, though. Because he does have to tie into a frequency in the frequency highway. You know what I'm saying? Exactly. He has to. So yeah, it makes sense. It kind of validates what you're saying about that, because that's exactly what they have to do to astral project, or a remote view, or whatever it may be,
or have an encounter with an incorporeal being.
That's wild shit, dude. This is early. You came up with this early, dude. It's only 8:00 where you're at right now, dude, and you threw this shit out at 8 a.m.
I got to keep buying that same coffee.
Jesus, man. Hell yeah. We're going to do the wake and bake every day, bro. Damn. So, all right, Bauer. So dude, that was the quickest hour of the week. It's literally
already.
It's 10:00, man.
Shit. Now,
my, dude, we didn't even start talking about Kennedy.
Yeah,
What the
well,
hell?
you
I
got.
wanted to talk about Bill Cooper.
Oh,
But you know what? Here, dude. You know what? Let's support what we just said, because this is all right now. If you go on to Twitter, dude, it's on. It's disgusting, really. I don't even want to look at the page. This is one of those things where you have to let time play out a little bit and let the actual dissection of information be done in regards to anything that's released, because we're speculating right now a lot of things. Like, we think that all these truth bombs are going to come out, and there's everybody in the chat, including yourself, all think differently. And I agree with you. But there again, there is that matrix, right? And if you go to Twitter, all the people that are in this cycle right now, and it's just like tomorrow's going to be completely different on what we're going to be talking about with JFK and MLK. So why even bother today?
you know, the thing that I'm really enjoying is that what I'm seeing is we're in the beginning of the age of agency, meaning the sovereignty and the provenance of the identity of oneself, and that is really exciting because basically the entire field of knowledge has now been opened. Everybody is free to think about and examine that which they may have thought was foolish and otherwise before. Because now the foolish and otherwise that was then is now the reality today. And people are experiencing that and they're going, whoa.
Did you realize how many sound bites I have from yesterday and how many I'm going to have from today? Of you dropping some of these people. The only reason I'm going to do some of these is because some of what you said you got to listen to a few times, honestly, to really digest. Because I don't want what you say, just because, you know, the way it comes out and the language that you use. It's you even see the expressions on my face sometimes when you drop some of your nuggets. I'm like, okay. And then I'm actually like 3 minutes behind you sometimes, still trying to kind of digest some of this information. But when you can mathematically calculate your language, brother, and just like simple things like what we just talked about, astral projecting and all that, it just makes sense all of a sudden. And so I'm going to put together these reels, man. We're going to put together a package just from the last 2 days of these nuggets that were dropped, because, man, it's brain rattling. So, brother, this is why I love the shit out of you, bro. Thank you so much.
My pleasure. And it's the reason I come here. You provide an opportunity to break out the bag of nuggets and start tossing them around the noggins.
But you trigger me, so it's hard for me to stand. Dude, it's like you're getting super deep on the subject and I get triggered, and then I'm bouncing it to dreams, and then I'm bouncing it over here. It's so funny to watch the expressions on your face, because it's like, bro, I didn't even finish the damn sentence on this one. The ADHD of talk radio, kids.
That's where it's at, man.
Let everybody know.
Everybody's going to find out all those conscious things that they've put labels on are actually skills that need to be embraced and amplified, not drugged and sequestered.
Mary says, and I think those first few moments between sleep and awake, the filters that shut our minds have constructed to be more socially acceptable aren't quite in place yet.
The fog of consciousness.
Did she drop some informatica right there, I think?
Yes.
She's part of the crew. We're probably going to have to jump her in, I think. Make her part of the gang, dude. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Let everybody know, Robert Bauer, YouTube, Facebook, your website. Let everybody know where they can follow, because if your brain is nuggeting right now, there's a whole bunch of nugget material available, and he's going to let you know how to get there right now.
Yeah, robertbauer.com. You can find all of the stuff I do, and wherever it's done, you can find it there.
robertbauer.com. That dude busted his ass for a year working on it. He has his merch store over there. He has his YouTube links over there. Everything you need to know for Mr. Bauer the Professor is robertbauer.com. And, of course, Stucci Media, folks. StucciMedia.com. Get your asses over there. We got articles getting pumped every day, a bunch of podcasts on there. StucciMedia.com. Ladies and gentlemen, happy Friday to each and every one of you. Have a great, fantastic freaking weekend. So on behalf of Mr. Robert Bauer the Professor, I am Rocky Stucci. This is the Rocky Stucci Show. From my family to yours, much love, much respect. And don't forget rule number 1, don't take shit from nobody. Love you guys.